you have a gymnastics background. So how do you think that that's trained into your adulthood? Because as we were talking about in the gym, like I'm starting to do a lot of calisthenics works. I'm trying to train myself into a handstand and handstand walks.
Heck yeah.
And it's harder as an adult. But like when I see kids who did gymnastics, even if they stopped and they get a little bit out of shape and they're not doing a lot of shit, those kids can hop into a handstand. They can bang out pull-ups. They can bang out dips like no one's business.
Oh, yeah. Well, when you are in your very early stages of development, you've heard them say that kids are rubber for your brain and your body. You're learning your body's capabilities, both mentally and physically, at that early age. If you take somebody who's 10 and you put them in a gym and you get them with an instructor and say, okay, hey, we're not going to do weights. We're not going to do any of that, but we're going to work on hip mobility. We're going to work on getting you into the splits. We're going to work on the rings. We're going to do the bars, the pommel horse. We're going to do flexibility, strength, endurance, all of that kind of stuff. And we're going to do that. I was training gymnastics 5 days a week. If you do that as a young child, you will never forget that. And I told you guys, even now, I mean, I haven't done gymnastics in over 20 years, but I can still do a handstand. I can still do a handspring. I can still do a flip. Those things are stuck with you. And as a foundation, I've never seen anything that provides a better foundation for kids and for development. And I will say there is certainly a sort of a caveat that should be mentioned with that, and that is that you shouldn't really stick with that world for too long. Some of these, I touched on this when we were in there, some of these coaches, these gymnast coaches, they're like, oh, well, we got to get you to got to go to the Olympics. I'm like, well, I kind of think I want to do school. Like,
is that the only goal for gymnastics, by the way? Is it just the Olympics? Because I can't think of anything else like...
If you want to go, and why would you want to do this? But if you wanted to go professionally, that's really it. There is no other way. That's it. That's the end road, is to get to the Olympics. In order to do that, you have to sacrifice. First of all, I wouldn't say it's healthy. It's probably unhealthy at that point to reach that scale, to go that long and that hard, and all of that impact. I mean, because it is a taxing sport the higher you go. And I did it for like 8 years. That's probably about how long I'd recommend anybody do it. You probably don't need to keep doing it after that. I mean, if you start when you're like 8, like I did, and you go till you're 15 or 16, you're probably right now, I mean, you're about to go to high school, you're doing all these other things, you probably can stop and get into sports. But as that early age and as a kid, I mean, if you have young ones, that's a great environment to get them in. It's a classroom setting, you get, early, interaction with other kids, you get to do something physical. It's not crazy, demanding on your body as a young kid. It's just once you get older and you start, I kind of developed a little bit early, and I remember like being weirdly the tallest one in the class, and I'm not tall, but all these kids who stay with it for so long, a lot of gymnasts are very small. The good ones, the ones that go the furthest, are typically smaller framed people.
Yeah.
How is it for the females? Is it a little different? Because I know some females that have done gymnastics, and a lot of them have a lot of injuries from that. Is it different, or does it just depend on your coach, or what have you seen?
Well,
like, as you said, you didn't have really nagging injuries, which is kind of surprising because gymnastics is like very violent on your body.
It is. And again, I did it from the ages of 8 to 15 or 16. So those are very early ages. And I was fortunate enough to have a good coach. I don't really know is the honest answer, because I haven't really studied gymnastics. It'd be a very interesting meta-analysis to do if you were to take, youth, male and female athletes, really look at, okay, what age demographic gets the most injuries? What are they from? How do they, improve? That'd be really cool. That'd be a cool research analysis. But I don't know whether females or males have difference, but I do know that the longer you do gymnastics, it's pretty inevitable that you will get hurt. And I'm sure I did have injuries while doing it.